As Devil Night nears and Halloween approaches, keep watching the skies. Don't just look into hell, because you never know what horrors you might see from above.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. I'm Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. It Came from Outer Space is a horror sci-fi that came out in 1953, and I discovered this one this year. So I hadn't. I've heard so many titles from the 50s that are very similar to this, so they literally all blend together. But I recently discovered that this was released in 4K, and I just had to have this because I love my nuclear era 50s sci-fi horror films. They're just absolutely incredible. They're cheesy as hell, and anything that has to do with UFOs and extraterrestrials and aliens. In this era, they're not scary. They're just pure cheese and pure fun. But in general, when it comes to modern stuff, it does scare the shit out of me. Like anything UFO based does scare the shit out of me. But these are just a blast, and like the poster art already sold me completely, and I'm glad I got a chance to pick this one up for 31 Days of Horror and talk about it this year. So what we have going on in this film is we have this couple named Johnny and Ellen, and Johnny is a space gazer. He likes to gaze at the stars with his telescope in his backyard, and he's watching the stars with his wife, and he notices this giant meteor crash into the Earth. So a few hours later, I guess, in the middle of the night or whatnot, he calls his buddy Pete, who owns a helicopter, and they take the helicopter over the crash site to see what was going on, and they land around the crash site. There's smoke everywhere, and Johnny decides to go and investigate the meteor impact and whatnot. And when he gets there, he discovers some strange things. Something that looks like a ship, something very metallic, and he notices a door open, and then he notices like something inside the door, but the door immediately shuts. He runs off, and he tells Pete and Ellen this, and he starts to try and get other people to believe him, and nobody will. It's your typical, alien crash landing story. Eventually, the plot goes into a body invading story. And not necessarily invading, but the aliens have the power to copy bodies and replicate them. So this becomes kind of invasion of the body snatchers in a way. There's this friend of theirs named George, who's the first one to be imitated and replicated. And it's very obvious that he's an alien because of the way he talks. And George and Ellen just find him strange, but kind of brush it off for some reason. He's literally talking like a robot. He's like, yes, the sun, beautiful. And they're just like, George seems a little bit strange today. It's like, fuck. Yeah, probably because it's not George. Okay, let's put two and two together here. But yeah, that's hilarious. There's this other guy named Frank, and there's this really funny scene with Frank where he's on this telephone tower, and he's trying to convince Johnny that maybe he's not hallucinating, but overreacting to very simple things. Like it could be the wind playing with the wires, making it sound like they could talk, or maybe, the desert and mirages, because the desert is filled with mirages of all kinds, that Johnny may have saw something because of the iron and the nickel or whatever it was in the meteor that might have resembled a ship, but actually wasn't. And he's getting all therapist talk, and the way he's speaking to Johnny sounds very like psychiatrist kind of lingo, and I like that. And when they both get when the aliens replicate their bodies, and they're walking through town and everything, it goes into some interesting directions because the aliens start to replicate other people, eventually Ellen herself, and they're always saying that they're at peace. So this is not like a invasion of Earth, as in the aliens want to take over or anything like that. The aliens are constantly saying that they come in peace, and they are going to leave literally that night. And they actually mentioned at one point that they accidentally landed on Earth. But man, the acting and the cheese level is exactly what you expect in this type of film. It's fully black and white. I didn't even know that they had a 3D option. I don't have a 3D TV or 3D player, so I couldn't watch it that way, but it'd be cool to see it that way. And the aliens look really goofy. I don't know, when there's moments when the people are driving and the aliens will be in front of the car, and it literally looks like a hologram, so it doesn't look that great. And they're just these like gloopy like those ghosts from Super Mario looking creatures, except they have one big eye in the front of their face, and they kind of just like do this kind of thing, like ghost like in front of the car. So they look kind of crappy. And then there's scenes where the camera will be point of view from the aliens, and you'll see them from their one eye. So you'll see kind of this image of like a cornea with the camera, and then the person, like the actor in front of it, will be like, ah, 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 and all that shit. So I eat that up. I love that kind of shit, and like the women like right in front of center screen going, ah, you get all that. You get the whole spooky like ooh kind of music. I can't whistle, so I'm just gonna do my most terrible imitation of that music ever. But you get all that. It serves up exactly what a 1950s UFO sci-fi horror is supposed to be. And there's no better example of something like this. So it's a lot of fun. There's an intermission too, which is very strange because this film is 80 minutes, so it literally doesn't need an intermission. It felt thrown in for no reason, but you get that, and it starts to slow down in its pace. In the second act, like some things start to drag a little bit in the second act, but not a whole lot. But there is a little bit of a lull after the intermission and before the like last 15-20 minutes of the movie that gets a little bit slow. But other than that little nitpick, it's a lot of fun throughout the whole entire thing. The first half of the film is near flawless, and it's it's fun. It's fun if you like this kind of black and white cheesy stuff, and it represents the era that this came out perfectly. So I had a blast with this film, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. 4 stars out of 5. And that's it. That's all there is to say about It Came From Outer Space. I highly suggest it. If you like this type of cinema, you will not be disappointed. This shit at a drive-in or some kind of special screening or something like that would be amazing to catch somewhere. But yeah, that's day 29 of 31 Days of Horror. We are almost at the end. We got Devil's Night and we got Halloween itself, baby. And not the movie, the actual day. And yeah, should be a treat. So hope everybody's keeping things spooky. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing in this 31 Days of Horror. Subscribe if you are. There's more from previous days. There's more from previous years. And until next horror review, take care. Keep it spooky. Cheers.